Hey everyone, this is Kat with Wondering Soup, and I come to you today with another video in our Move To series. And in our Move To series, we just basically give you the basic information for a country that you may be considered moving to. We touch on ownership, home, business, citizenship, visas, black and abroad, LGBTQI friendly, education, medical care, all those things. You ready? Let's get into it. In this video, this week, we are actually moving to Canada. Canada is a great country. I've been there, loved it. It's a little pricey though. We're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about land ownership. Can you own property there when you move to Canada? You can. You can buy a house. It won't be an issue whether you're a citizen or not. The only issues that I read about were when it comes to money down. In the U.S., we're typically used to putting 20% down. In Canada, you may have to put as much as 35% down. There may be some limitations. This is just really going to be the bank itself that you're going through in regards to how many properties you can finance. Some people want to own a lot of properties. You may not be able to own more than 5 until you become a citizen. So just keep that in mind. But yes, you can walk in the door and buy property in Canada. Business ownership. Can you own a business in Canada as an expat, as an immigrant? And the answer to that is yes, but no. Until you become a permanent resident, you cannot own a business in Canada. Just that simple. Look into reasons why. I don't know why. I didn't get into it. I saw the no and I kept it pushing. So you may have to do the same, but if you want to own a business there, look into the rules and regulations. There are some workarounds and things of that nature. Again, just do your research. Next up is citizenship. You can become a Canadian citizen. There are some rules and regulations, especially if you're 18 to 54. You have to be a permanent resident, which means you have to have been in the country 3 to 5 years, lived there, or 3 out of the last 5 years. You have to have filed your taxes. You have to pass a citizenship test, and you have to prove your language skills. Those are the steps. In some countries, you can marry a native and become a citizen. That is not true for Canada, but if you are a Canadian citizen and you have kids, they are automatic citizens, and if your grandparents are Canadian citizens, then you can become a Canadian citizen. So look up and see if your grandparents are from there, or go back, maybe a generation or two and see if you can become a citizen. But there are some steps, and you have to follow them. And to get to Canada, you got to look at the visa rules. There's really only 2 types of visas to get into Canada. There's multi-visit and single visit. Most people are given the multi-visit, and you're good for up to 6 months. If you stay longer than 6 months, then you have to apply for permanent resident status in Canada. So basically, you get a 6-month visa. After that, you got to make some decisions on what you want to do. Next up is medical. Medical, you always hear in America great stories about medical care in Canada, and 90% of it's true. There's good care. It is free. It's part of the system. You will pay taxes into the system, which is why you have to file taxes, so that you can receive that medical care. But you have to be a citizen or a permanent resident to receive that medical care. So that means for most of you in that first 6 months at least, you cannot receive that free medical care. What does that mean? That means you have to get health insurance, pay for it, however you want to do it. Pretty simple process, very similar to being in the States. You sign up with a carrier, you pay your monthly, quarterly, or yearly fees, and you're covered. One of the things that did surprise me was that a lot of Canadians do the exact same thing, because even though the healthcare system in Canada is good, and again, healthcare is free, there's a process to get into a doctor's office. There's a lengthy process in some ways, and there are a limited number of providers. Versus in the States, for basic care, you generally can get into your doctor's office within a week or so. You call up, make an appointment, maybe a month. In Canada, that same basic appointment may be 3 to 6 months out. And that's the difference, and that's why some others in Canada pay to have the private insurance. So again, you won't be by yourself in that regard. Next up is education. Education in Canada, and this is for those with kids, is generally free. Just like in America, paying your taxes, your kid can go to school, again though, This is for those who are citizens and permanent residents. If you're not that, then school isn't free. So you're going to have to pay for school for your kids, and that's elementary and high school. So what I recommend is that you budget for paying for school. Now you can also homeschool, so that is an option for you as well. Next up is cost of living. Now this was a hard one for me because I've been to Canada and I like Canada, but Canada is not cheap to me. So if you're one of those people who are looking to lower your cost of living from the U.S. and you're from like a big size city, decent sized city in the U.S. and you're used to paying X and you want to go down to here, Canada probably would not be the country that I would move to. Your prices there are going to be very comparable to most decent sized cities in the U.S. and in some instances it will be certainly higher. Like if I'm coming from small town Mississippi, and I'm used to paying $400 a month in rent, or the Midwest, or I'm paying $400 to $500 for my house. Yeah, you're not going to find that in Canada. This would not be the country for that. You're going to be very comparable to the U.S. In some instances, you're going to be paying way, way more. So I'm going to post a link below where you can do a comparison. There's a site where you can do a comparison between the city that you're in to the city that you want to move to, just to give you an idea of what the cost will be. Research, research, research. Prices will vary depending on which province you're in, which city you're in that province. Just do your research. Next up is going to be LGBTQI friendly. Is Canada friendly? It is. Unlike the U.S., Canada is actually progressing in their rights. They're not trying to take anything away. You can get married there. You can, job protection, housing protection, things of that nature. It is very, very much well protected in Canada. So in that regard, you'll be fine. Will you face some discrimination on a personal level, possible hate crimes and things of that nature? Yes, that happens everywhere in the world. But Canada is definitely leading the charge with making the world a better place for LGBTQI members. So in that regard, you should be okay. And last but not least is Black and abroad in Canada. This was another hard one for me because, I read, I'm not, the world is not a bubble. It is not a safe place for a lot of people. Canada has its history. It has its history against natives in the area or in that country or from that country. And of course, slaves in America escaped to Canada. There are a lot of Caribbean blacks in Canada. But that doesn't mean to say that it is a utopia and that life is great there. It is not. Not in that regard. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I'm saying that you need to do your research. I'm going to post some links here and on our blog at wanderingsoup.com where you can just get some insight on the history of Canada when it comes to being black there and what you may experience. Is it going to be as bad as America where you can get shot and killed by the cops? No. But, again, it's not going to be a utopia. Just as simple. You probably will face some type of discrimination depending on what part of Canada you live in. You may get targeted. Things happen. Humans will human, and they will continue to do so. So, in that instance, just do your research. And everything that we talked about, you got to do your research. This is just a big beginning information for you, just to help you along that pathway. If you go to our blog at wanderingsoup.com, I have more information there, some links about everything that I've discussed. Just hit the link and it'll take you to more direct information and you can do your research if you are considering a move to Canada. I am Kat. This is Wandering Soup. See you in the next video.